Well, you can walk down there. Yeah.
All right, guys, Aaron Dorr here again with Iowa Gun Owners. Going to do a video here in the middle of the crowd. We've moved locations. If you guys can hear me and see me okay, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. We're going to show you guys some of the crowd we got going on here. It's a massive, massive crowd today in Richmond. I see Brent Carlson watching right now. Someone give me an audio check if my audio is good. I'm going to kick off this video here. It's a huge crowd today in Richmond, as you guys could probably imagine. I see Sean, I see Dennis, I see Lydia. If the audio is good, you guys let me know that in the comment section. We're going to show you guys some of what's going on here. I turn my phone on here. I'm going to raise my stuff up in the air. Here we go. Okay, good. I see Dennis says good audio, and so does Jeff. All right. So here is some of the crowd down here, guys. We're here at North 9th Street and Bank Street. This is the Legislative Office building right here in front of my finger, right over there. That's where a lot of lobbying is happening today. But you can see, I'm going to raise this phone up in the air. That crowd is running way down the hill. It runs way down that street, which you can't even probably see that right now because of that tree. And then also, as you guys can see here behind me, let me turn it around here. Up the hill here, that crowd goes, guys, up that hill for days. There are thousands of gun owners out here protesting Northam's tyranny today in Richmond, Virginia. You can't see around that corner right there, that intersection down that road. It goes on again for blocks. There's just thousands of people all across the state who have gathered today, and across the country for that matter, gathered today in Richmond to protest Governor Northam's tyrannical attempts to take away the AR-15, to take away magazines, to have one gun a month on handguns, to pass preemption legislation to allow every town to have their own gun control bill. And it's all happening today here in Richmond. A huge turnout. You know, there's thousands of folks here. It's wall-to-wall traffic, and nobody's breaking windows. Nobody's rolling cars over. No one's starting fires. It's just law-abiding gun owners doing what we do and reminding lawmakers that you're going to pay a price if you continue to attack our gun rights freedom. And that fight today is in Richmond. That fight is happening right now, guys. And it's happening in Des Moines, where we all are fighting. It's happening in Missouri. It's happening in states all over the Midwest where Republicans will not fight for gun owners. And when that happens, it emboldens these crazy leftists to attack our freedoms. They're going to keep doing it time and time and time again. We have to fight back hard in Des Moines, guys, and make sure they know there's going to be a price paid if they do not fight for gun owners. But again, the crowd here is massive. For those who are getting signed on right now, I'm going to turn my camera around again, let you guys see the Capitol crowd here. I'm going to raise my monopod up. This crowd goes for blocks down that hill. The crowd goes for blocks down that road on Bank Street. It goes for, let me turn here, rotate here. Crowd goes for blocks up the road that way, up 9th Street. It goes for blocks down East Franklin. And of course, we're only out here right now in the area where we can carry firearms. There's a huge crowd also inside, as you guys saw in my video earlier, inside the Capitol complex, where people cannot carry firearms. The actual rally is going to happen in that complex in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. But the real fun, frankly, and the real crowd, frankly, is gathering out here where we can still be armed, not have to follow Governor Blackface's edict, and fight back. And that's happening out here right now all across the Capitol complex. I'm going to try to walk through the crowd here and show you guys some of the incredible folks, some of the incredible signs. Just so many good folks here today. Nothing crazy. Haven't seen any riots or people freaking out. Haven't seen any cars being overturned. It's just law-abiding gun owners protesting tyranny. And it's just a phenomenal crowd to see here today. I'm going to walk through some of this crowd. Show you guys some of this. Sun's kind of in the lens right now, but that crowd goes way down there. And it goes way down the hill down here. It's just fantastic. So many great people here in defiance of the governor's tyranny. Huge crowds out here. And the bills are pushing here. The same bills are pushing in Iowa, we're seeing the same kind of attacks. We're seeing a push for universal background checks, which is all it is a gun registry. We're seeing, the assault weapons ban being talked about. We know that's coming. We've got all kinds of attacks on preemption law, so individual towns can pass their own gun control in complete disregard for current state code. There's a huge push underway for red flag gun seizures, and it's all happening here. And if it happens here, it's going to keep happening in the rest of our states as well. But the real lesson here, I think we have to keep an eye on. Am I blocking your path?
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
The real lesson here, guys, is that right now it's Northam's radicals, but recently the Republicans had control here. And again, these Republicans refused to take action. They refused to pass constitutional carry when they could. Boy, does that sound familiar. And in fact, just last week here in Richmond, when they passed universal gun registration, they had numerous Republicans backing Northam's radicals doing the exact same thing. And guys, that's the same story we have in Iowa. The GOP has the ability to do this stuff. They have the ability to pass constitutional carry, and they don't want to do it. And when that happened in Richmond, those people betrayed their base, they lost their majorities, and now we have Northam's radicals in charge doing all their crazy stuff. And that's why we've got to push hard in Iowa. We have to push hard and make sure that these people get this job done in 2020 when we have the majorities. There's so much cool gear here, guys. Look at this guy's radio setup. Lots of cool radios across the complex. Wireless has been so sporadic. A lot of guys had their own communications gear. Tons of guys open carry in their M4 variants all across the Capitol. Huge numbers of ARs here. And it's probably the safest place in the entire Capitol, in the entire country right now, is live in Richmond with all these awesome gun owners open carrying their firearms. How's it going, guys? So many folks. So many folks. You read some of the comments here. This camera back down. I see Mark Baker watching. My good friend Mark is watching from Ashton. Wherever you guys are watching from, let me know. But again, guys, there's thousands and thousands of people here. Massive crowds. Nobody's rioting. Nobody's breaking windows. Nobody's lighting cars on fire. It's just people here to protest Governor Northam and his tyranny. And this is great to see. But we have got to make sure and keep maintaining this fight in Iowa so that it never gets here. So that it never gets here, because everything, well, all they're doing here in Richmond is the same crap that crazy gun grabbers in Des Moines want to do. It's the same crap that Representative Bruce Hunter wants to pass. It's the same bills that Representative Ako Abdul Samad wants to pass. The same gun control being pushed here, they want to push the exact same thing in Iowa. And if they ever have the votes to get it done, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Someone's asking about dopey Steve Holt. Yeah. We'll deal with Steve Holt later. We got time on Steve. We'll take care of Steve Holt later on. Today here, guys, we're here to show support for our fellow gun owners in Virginia, that they're not alone, that people all across the country are watching them and standing in solidarity in support of their fight to defend themselves and their Second Amendment freedoms, guys. But this has to continue we have to maintain this fight in Iowa. We cannot back down. Let me show you some more of the crowd here, guys. You're not going to see this probably in the fake news. Thousands of them. We're right in the middle of them here. We're on North 9th Street by Bank right now. I'll turn around here and let you guys see some of this massive crowd. Look at that. Look at all those people. Look at all that. Camera set back down. I think a lot of you guys, let me turn my camera around here in 1 second. I think everybody knows, oops, what's going on? Oops, oh yeah, stand right there. Oh, hang on, listen to this, guys. Listen to this, listen to this.
USA! 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 USA!
Could be.
They picked the wrong place.
What a sound. Listen to all that freedom. So many patriots tired of Northam's tyranny.
You
guys all know that. You guys all know we do gun politics as a group. Myself, we got Chris, who runs in Ohio Gun Owners. We got Ben here with Minnesota Gun Rights. We're all brothers. We love fighting for gun rights. You guys all know that. We're all here today at the same time to do live reports for our various state groups. But it is a huge crowd of patriots here from all across the country, guys. It's amazing.
You want to know how those USA chants start? It's because there's a couple of Antifa losers walking around here, and they start shouting a bunch of crap, and all the thousands of these patriots are just like, no, not here, not today, loser. Go back home, eat another bowl of Fruit Loops in your mom's basement, and get the hell out of here.
Right.
So that's what starts that stuff, and it's absolutely fantastic to watch.
Thousands of people. I mean, 10,000? Who knows? Thousands and thousands are here. No one's rioting.
Many tens of thousands.
I mean, we can't even tell because we're in one intersection. There is 5 intersections like this all across the Capitol complex right now that are just absolutely jammed to the walls with gun owners. It is a huge crowd out here. No one's protesting. I mean, no one's knocking over cars and lighting fires. We're here protesting Northam's tyranny and reminding his caucus members what's going to happen to them if they back this radical gun control bill.
Yep. That's why we're fighting in states all across America, because what happens right here in Virginia, it affects what happens everywhere. It affects what happens everywhere. If we fall down on the job here, well, they're going to march. Well, keep marching west. That's how that works.
A march right into Columbus is what's going to happen. I'm from Ohio, but guys, I mean, this stuff it starts somewhere. It has to end somewhere. Gun owners need to be brutally effective at election time. I guess I'm preaching to the choir here. Iowans are infamous in the gun rights community for being brutally effective at election time, but that's what gun owners here in Virginia need to start doing is marching right into the election seasons and holding these people accountable.
I mean, these rallies are fantastic, but it has to be matched with effective activism during session and at election times. These people know that it's not just a one-day thing here. The gunners are not just going to be aggressive on one day, that we're going to fight them tooth and nail all session long, and then in the election season, over and over and over. And you guys all know that. Mike Gronstall learned the hard way what happens when you screw with Iowa gun owners. So did Steve Sodders, so did Brian Shane John, all these people. But now we have these pro-gun majorities, and now the question is, will people like Lion Dan Dawson keep his campaign promise and actually support constitutional carry or not? Will Ragin' Amy Sinclair keep her campaign promise and support constitutional carry or not? Will that little 5-foot-tall Jason Schultz keep his campaign promise and support constitutional carry or not? Will Bucktooth Steve Holt keep his campaign promise and support constitutional carry or not? We don't know, but we have to keep the pressure on, guys, all session long. Ben Ben works in Minnesota Gun Rights, has the exact same problem. Hold it still as best you can. The exact same problem in Minnesota. You have Republicans up there who all claim to be 100% pro-gun, and now, of course, they only have the one chamber. But even Republicans in Minnesota are backing gun control. Same thing we're seeing here in Virginia.
I mean, here's the deal. The only reason that they're not passing red flag gun confiscations in Iowa right now is because you guys, the members of Iowa gun owners, are forcing this conversation to the right. You're forcing these people to go on defense and try to stop your pro-gun legislation. And that's what happens with gun rights. You're either going forward or you're going backwards. It doesn't sit still. It doesn't just stop moving. So you need, as desperately as we are here trying to stop gun control in Virginia, you need to fight in Iowa to get constitutional carry passed.
Because it's not just enough that we don't have a gun control fight underway in Des Moines. We have a pro-gun majority who won't do anything. And so we expect to be attacked by our enemies, but being betrayed by our quote-unquote friends, the folks who took support from gun owners, who took votes and PAC money and volunteer hours. Those folks, for them betraying us is even worse than being attacked by regular liberal Democrat Bloomberg-funded radicals. And so that's why it is so important that we push. Gary says to fight like hell, because when we have these majorities, I mean, they had them here in Richmond until November. And when they're gone, it takes a long time to get them back. And everybody knows in Iowa, every Politico in Des Moines knows that Trump is going to save their ass in 2020, but by 2022, we might very well lose the House.
Yep.
Might very well lose the House. And as fast as the Senate chamber is screwing things up, there's no guarantees anywhere. We know we have the votes now to move these bills. The question is, will these people do their job and support it or not?
You do not want to wake up 2 years from now, 4 years from now and go, oh dear God, I need to get involved in the fight now because we've got to stop all this gun control from passing in Des Moines.
Exactly.
Don't sit back now because you're on offense and go, it's not all that important. In Minnesota, we had a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a weak Democrat governor who literally was so frail he couldn't even stand up and give the State of the State address. He fell forward and bonked his head on the countertop. No lie, look it up. That was our chance, and we fought like hell to get Stand Your Ground and constitutional carry to move, and Republicans in Minnesota killed it. And now we have no chance of passing pro-gun legislation in Minnesota. Now we are 100% on defense trying to stop gun control. So get the job done in Iowa. Get a hold of Jason Schultz, get a hold of Amy Sinclair and Dan Dawson. These losers. Rhino losers, and you burn their phones down as if they're trying to march in your house and take your firearms away, because that's what they're doing when they're refusing to pass constitutional carry.
We put them there. You guys, we all put them there. You guys put them there, and now they won't do their job, and they have to. It's as bad as them attacking our gun rights here in Richmond. If they won't do their job when they're on offense, it's the same as them attacking our gun rights now when they're on defense here in Virginia. So we have got to push. I want to mention one thing here too. They passed in the Senate chamber just here 3 days ago now, universal background checks, which is Michael Bloomberg's signature bill, which puts every gun owner in Virginia, if it's passed, onto a database for every handgun that they buy, every firearm they buy, universal background checks. It is their #1 agenda item in all state capitals. But you know, when they passed it on Thursday in Richmond, oh, here they go again. Listen to this crowd, guys. Listen to this crowd.
USA! 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 USA!
Love hearing that.
And that's another Antifa loser shouted down by the gun rights community.
I have yet to hear any Moms Demand Action activists shouting USA when they're rallying.
You can see that happen.
To take our gun rights away.
But when they passed universal background checks in the Senate chamber 3 days ago, they did so with the votes of Republicans backing this gun control. 2 Republican senators supported Northam's attack on the Second Amendment in Virginia. 2 Republican senators added their name as supporters of universal background checks. And that's why we had to fight like dogs in Iowa, because party affiliation doesn't mean jack anymore. We cannot trust a lawmaker like Lion Dan Dawson, because he's a Republican, that he's going to actually fight for gun rights. The GOP in Virginia, 2 of the members of the state Senate just backed Northam's gun control just on Thursday here in Richmond. And the same thing in Minnesota.
Now, when they're needed the most.
Where Ben runs Minnesota gun rights, same thing. Multiple Republican senators co-sponsoring last year universal background checks. Of course, in Ohio, where Chris works, who's right here off the screen, you've got the Republican governor, Mike DeWine, NRA endorsed Mike DeWine, pushing for red flag gun seizures and UBCs as well, or some variation thereof.
Yep.
And so party affiliation doesn't count for crap anymore. And I know it's in vogue in Iowa that we're Iowa nice and that we all want to support Team R, but Team R doesn't support us anymore. Some of them do, but some of them don't. And so it's not enough to say we're going to vote against the Ds, we're going to vote for the Rs. We have to vote for people who will fight for gun owners. If they won't fight for gun owners, they're dead to us. That's why we have digital ads going right now all across the state. You can see them at LionDanDawson.com. You can see our ad at RageandAmy.com, and all the rest of our videos are going right now, because we don't play nice with Republican turncoats. We're not going to be friendly to Republican lawmakers who take our support, take our PAC checks, take the votes from our members, and then stab us in the back once they're safely in office. We're not going to back down. We can't back down. What you got?
I was just a few minutes ago, I was talking with one of these Virginians here, And he was telling me, he's like, you know what? I just wish that our Republicans would act like they're Democrats.
Yeah.
He's like, look what just happened here. They finally got control of both chambers and the governor's mansion, and what did they do?
1 week.
1 week later, boom! They're instantly going to work advancing their agenda. Why can't Republicans do the same?
Exactly.
I mean, so in Ohio and in Iowa, where the Republicans hold the gavels and control all three chambers of government, why are they not pushing the agenda forward for our side? Why are they not as consistent as the left is? That would be a very big benefit to Iowans now.
When we first launched Iowa Gun Owners, you and I were talking to Matt Winchell in 2009. Saying, you know what, we want to see constitutional carry law. Back then we had May issue. You had to kiss the ass of your sheriff and beg for a permit. And sometimes he'd say yes. A lot of times he'd say no. And our goal was always constitutional carry. And that lying piece of trash, he's like, well, you know, right now, Governor Culver is in charge, and so we can't do a damn thing.
We need to get the governor's office.
We got to get in charge. And so what happened? So gun owners got involved in a major way in 2010, flipped out Chet Culver, threw out the entire House Democratic caucus almost. I mean, it's a bloodbath. Flipped that chamber, and then what Matt went to say? Matt went to say, well, we can't do it right now. We don't control the Iowa Senate, so what can we do? Even though they controlled the House, so what did we do? You guys know what happened. You guys ran a huge program to expose gun grabbers.
Beautiful.
A massive attack on gun grabbers all across the state. Grostall, Shane John, Wilhelm, Sodders, all gone. Courtney, Braze, all of them gone. So then we did that part. So now we have a complete lock on the legislature. And what does he say now? Well, now he says, oh, now's not the right time.
Now's not the right time.
Bunch of lying bastards. And this is why we cannot accept this in Iowa, folks. We cannot sit there and say, oh, okay, well, I guess now's not the right time. It's been 10 years, and they won't deliver.
And who do they think they are as your employees? How are they so arrogant as to sit there and think that they know better than you do?
Especially as states all across the country now are doing this exact same thing.
Yep.
I mean, South Dakota did it. Missouri did it. All of our neighboring states are moving it. 16 states have this in the books. 33% of America have it in the books. And we still can't get Republicans in Iowa to get off their butt and take care of this bill.
You know what letting Republicans not toe the line for gun owners looks like? You want to know what it would look like 15 years from now?
Yeah.
In Iowa? It would look like this. It would look just like that, and you'd have gun owners trying to fly into Des Moines by the tens of thousands to bail Iowans out.
I mean, this rally is fantastic.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we love being here, but we never want to have to see this in Des Moines. We don't want to have to see this in Des Moines. We don't want to have to see where it gets to the point where we're down to a Hail Mary rally like this to save our gun rights. We do our best fighting at election time. And we do our best fighting during legislative season and reminding these people who they work for and holding them accountable at the ballot box. That is our primary methodology. As again, this rally it's beautiful. It's phenomenal. And I never want to see it.
Right.
I never want to see it in Iowa.
Des Moines,
we don't want to see
Columbus.
this. We don't want to be in a spot where all we have left is a one-day show of force. This pressure has to be applied day in and day out, all session long. That's why we go to such great expense to get our online digital programs in place so you guys can take action in a moment. And your emails and your phone calls, your tweets, your video messages. This is the political power of our time. This is how you remind your lawmakers of who they work for. And if we don't fight like that, we're going to see this happening in our state. And again, we love being here. It's a phenomenal thing to be a part of, but we never want to have to be resorting to this in a state like Iowa, guys. We have got to fight this back as hard as we can. Something wrong?
No. I'm gonna take
You good? Okay.
Watch your modify.
Yep.
What's that? Nothing. Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, guys, let's show you the crowd again here. I'm going to get this mod put up in the air and turn the camera around and show you guys some of the crowd. Such a big crowd here, guys. We're only in one intersection. We're at 9th and Bank Street. The crowd goes for literally 3 blocks down the road there. You saw some of our live videos this morning showing you that crowd down there. It goes for at least 2 blocks down the road here, and then I believe that all of the street down there is locked down as well and filled full of people. And if I turn here and look up 9th Street, you'll see the crowd goes for blocks up there as well. That's the entrance point up there at East Grace Street at 9th. And the same thing, if you turn and look, you can't see past that corner, but down there, the crowd goes for blocks as well. Wall to wall people, wall to wall. And we're not even talking about the crowd, it's actually inside the Capitol right now, inside the grounds, rather, for the rally. Huge crowd in there too. Let me turn my camera around. There we go.
I mean, you look around here today, it kind of reminds you of the movie Braveheart. I'm sure there's a few of you who probably watched that movie a time or two, but the phrase, "this must be a fashionable fight, it's drawn the finest people,"
exactly.
Definitely comes into play here. Of course, I don't know if you guys can hear it on these microphones or not, but you've got the fake news media, helicopters and stuff flying around. They'll probably do here today what they do at Trump rallies.
Yeah, hundreds of people showed up.
Hundreds of people, and then they'll show some video clips from 4:30 this morning,
or 4:30 this afternoon,
or 4:30 this afternoon.
Everybody's leaving.
Nobody's here.
Exactly.
But you can see.
Oh yeah.
I've watched some of these reporters interviewing people so far, and it's been really cold here. Like especially early this morning. Maybe not for you Iowans, but for Virginians, it's pretty cold here this morning. A lot of people had face masks on, and they come right up in really close, like they never do with Antifa. And they get them wearing their face masks and stuff like that, because you know what the corporate leftist media is going to do. They're going to try to portray what happened here today as extreme. This isn't anything extreme. This is as common sense as it possibly gets. Americans simply want to keep our firearms to defend ourselves against thugs and tyrants. But they've got the gun control crowd has their media buddies here doing everything they can, getting all the B-roll they possibly can to use against us at some point down the road.
Well, it's funny, we were here in July for the special session Governor Blackface called in July to try to pass gun control, and there was thousands of crazy, screaming, out of control, unhinged, Bloomberg-funded psychos.
Yeah.
And we were like 3 or 4 of us against this whole crowd. There was no fencing here that day.
No.
There was no barricades set up that day. The state troopers weren't lined up in walls of them trying to muzzle them like they are today. This is a very one-sided attack on gun owners. We all know this. And that's how it always works. They want to paint you as radical, attack us all they can, and try and demonize gun owners. But I was doing an interview last night, actually, Chris, in the Capitol over here, with a reporter from the Daily Mail. And she's from the New York City office, and she was down here to cover this event today. And she actually is from Scotland originally, and she was kind of saying, and she wasn't being dismissive, she just said, it's fascinating to me, she said, from coming from Scotland to see how quickly Americans will rise up in defense of their gun rights. And she said, it's just such a fascinating concept. And
we're well known for it, ma'am.
And I said, we hacked a country out of European control with those firearms, and we haven't forgot that. I also said that if she's ever seen Braveheart, she'd know her own country's history with using firearms to fight against tyranny as well. But she was just saying how it's such a unique experiment in the whole world. Where you have a place, in this case Virginia, where gun owners will stand up and say, you're not going to take our firearms. You're not going to get them. And she wasn't being dismissive. She was being quite, almost like she was appreciative that there is a country on earth where the people have the right. And when you come here today and see this crowd, there's probably, 5,000 AR-15s within a 3-block radius of us right now, and thousands and thousands and thousands of handguns out here. I mean, this is what America is all about, free people.
When we first got here this morning, we were coming up the street right down here, and there was probably 300 or 400 militia guys that were lined up in full battle rattle. And we were just talking to each other saying, man, there's no other country on this planet where people, if they disagree with their government, not only can they voice their opinions against it, but have that ultimate check and balance on government gone awry. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. We're standing right now in the most safe place in America. And yet those people inside those buildings, and the people in the Des Moines Capitol building, and They think that gun owners are the problem. They think gun owners are the ones who should sit down, shut up, and relinquish our rights. And
it's a very similar thing here between, and maybe some of you are going to laugh if you believe in Iowa nice. If you do, that's a problem. You got to get rid of that. But there's a parallel here between Governor Blackface and people like Brad Zahn and Matt Winchell and Speaker Grassley and Jack Whitver and all these guys, because they believe, like Northam, that they get to decide.
Yeah.
They know how much freedom we should enjoy. They know how much gun rights we should enjoy. They know when we need constitutional carry.
They know how
better.
to live your lives better
Yeah,
than you
they
do.
know
That's
better.
what they believe.
They know better.
Yeah,
So
and I know
excuse me.
Jack Whitver. And I know that's, I used to sit right next to the dude on the Senate floor. I know that's exactly what these politicians believe about you. They believe they know better than you do. They believe they know how to run your life better than you do. And that's an absolute,
And anytime
travesty.
you try to call them out on it, and if you guys are getting these emails from Megan Hess, bitter,
Horrible
nasty woman, or
Horrible.
Raging Amy, or anybody else like that, the smug, elite, in your face, passive aggressive arrogance is so much, it's hard to even stomach. That's why you can't stomach it. You can't take it. Don't accept that crap. Tell them they're going to deliver the goods or they're going to be removed. We're not going to sit here and support a caucus that will not support us. Not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Keep preaching it. Keep preaching it. Yeah, and that's another one I can double down on with the whole rageandamy.com thing. I used to sit next to Amy Sinclair on the Senate floor in Iowa. We know these things to be true.
Nasty woman.
So
if you guys haven't seen our spots right now, it's LionDanDawson.com and RageandAmy.com. Our first two digital ads of 2020. Chris, we were talking yesterday, and I don't want to. We're not going to second guess what's all been going on here in Virginia, but all I know is that these lobby days are fantastic. But the real work is done by doing a cutthroat online digital program with the tools we've given you guys to work with, the kind of ads that we run in Iowa, attacking, exposing gun grabbers. From what we're hearing, that hasn't happened in Virginia.
No, in fact, if you go to like the Facebook pages of VCDL, you will find, like in the last election seasons, they weren't like raising the ground in some of these swing districts like they should have been, like they absolutely should have been. Anytime I hear a semi-horn,
I look.
right now.
I don't know what that is.
I have no idea what's going on,
You said the other side of the flags.
Whatever it is, it got everybody
This side.
fired up.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you don't see the type of ferocious election work that IGO has been known for. You don't see the kind of ads that unseated guys like Mike Gronstall and Brian Shane John and all these people. And that's the thing is you can't, these rally days are phenomenal, but we have got to be effective all during session. We have to come right back in during the election season and hammer them again. We have to fight when it counts. And that means during session and during the election season. That's when it matters most.
Well, if you don't believe them, just look what's happening here in Virginia. I mean, it's time now because the other side, they're coming for the throat of everybody out there in every state.
Exactly. So guys, if you're not getting our emails, you got to go to IGOupdates.com and get signed up for those email updates. IGOupdates.com. Check out our current digital ads that are running right now at LionDanDawson.com and also RageandAmy.com. Our first two ads. We got more coming. You guys have given us resources, and we're going to push and hit more people and more people and more people. I see folks here watching in Michigan. I know you guys are watching from. Post your states where you guys are watching from right now. We've got folks watching from, I think, a lot of states right now. This crowd continues to grow right now on this page right now. But again, guys, we're here today in Richmond at the Capitol to stand with our fellow gun owners in Virginia, but also to remind, I think, all of us with Iowa gun owners that this will happen in Iowa if we don't maintain this fight. And I know we have things kind of fat and sassy right now in Iowa. Let's be honest. Gronstall is a lowly lobbyist in the Capitol. I saw him on the elevator 3 days ago. We got a lot of these guys who have been kicked out of office, and so it's a lot easier, a lot better than what it has been.
Yeah.
but that is no excuse for us to back off the pressure. If anything, we should be doing more, because once we have Republicans in charge who got there only because of you guys, and we all know that, once they're in there, if they tell us to go pound sand, we have to double down. We have to triple down. We have to hammer them, because how dare they sit there and think that they can now back away on their campaign promises.
And the fact of the matter is that what happens in one state affects gun owners all across the country. So right now, what they're trying to do. Look what the left is doing here. In California, over the years, they did a trickle program where they just whittled and cut and sliced and diced people's gun rights away until there's nothing left. Here in Virginia, they're adopting a completely different approach to see if it can stick.
Yeah.
So they're going
Hail
from
Mary.
0 to 100 miles an hour overnight, literally.
Yeah.
And if it's successul here, they're going to try to implement it in countries all across America.
They'll be in Pennsylvania next week.
Absolutely. That's why we have to, in states like Iowa, when they have Republican power, you need to go pedal to the metal all the way until they pass constitutional carry. You guys already have standing ground. Until they pass these bills, because then what? Our side uses those exact same things and projects that to other states and says, look, if Iowa is doing this, you should too.
Well, frankly, that's what we did in Missouri.
Yeah, exactly.
We're broadcasting right now on the IGO page, but we're heavily involved with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Chris is down there for the override session in September of 2016.
Yep.
My wife was having a baby or something. I was delayed for a couple days. But the Missouri Firearms Coalition did this exact same program in Missouri in 2016.
Yep.
Representative Eric Burleson, who's now a state senator, introduced constitutional carry law for the Missouri Firearms Coalition.
Yeah.
And everybody said it wasn't going to pass, and the NRA shit-talked that bill for months, and they attacked all of us who were pushing that bill. But by late March, it got past the committee process. It was headed to the floor, and all of a sudden, this was the gun bill of the day. And so it began to get amendments and more pro-gun amendments. So we added on Stand Your Ground Law was our first one. We had lifetime carry permits. We expanded the Castle Doctrine bill. Pretty much, it became the biggest gun bill, state-level gun bill in American history at that time. Iowa may have beat it with the bill in 2017, and we passed this monster improvement when it comes to our gun rights, and that's how it works. You reset the playing field then for all the rest of these states, and they can say, hey, if they're doing it in Missouri, why can't we do it in Iowa, for example? But
incidentally, that bill got passed in 2016. It was the first state to crack the Stand Your Ground logjam since that ridiculous Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman trial in 2012. It was fantastic.
And once that happened, that blazed the trail. And then after we decimated Gronstall's caucus in 2016 in the elections, then we passed that bill in 2017 in Iowa. And then Wyoming played off of that success, and you helped draft that bill. So we rocked out to Wyoming after Jason Schultz and Brad Zahn killed constitutional carry in 2018, went out there, and we passed the Senior Ground Law in Wyoming as well. So 3 states in 3 years. So this momentum theory is legit.
Yes.
It works. The problem right now in Richmond is that the momentum's on the wrong side.
Right.
And if they pass this monster gun control package out here,
with
it's
no
going to spread.
Yeah.
And that's the key, with no repercussions. And that's why, while we're not involved in Virginia gun politics, we certainly hope that the number of people who are here today is magnified 1,000-fold at election time, and they actually hold these people accountable. These rally days are phenomenal, but it has to be backed up with real action at election time.
There has to be political careers laying in the gutter after elections are over for these scumbags in buildings like these to get the message. And if there isn't, these people are only emboldened and encouraged to pass more gun control. Look at New York.
Because why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
If they can sit here and give a middle finger to this proud, phenomenal state of gun owners, and they don't get hit at election time, then why wouldn't they keep it going? That's what we would do on the pro-gun side. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going.
Yeah. And I think that part of it here, guys, is that a lot of people don't seem to understand that we are by far and away the majority of people. People who think like us, boys, a lot of people out there say, it's just too late. Can't stop them. Politicians, they don't listen. You know, we can't sway this. We can't stop this stuff.
Right.
You know, the radicals and the liberals, they're just going to shove this stuff. Look at us. There's tens and tens and tens of thousands of gun owners here from all across the country. We are the majority of people in states all across America, but we oftentimes only get involved when it's the final hour.
Yeah.
We're screwed. We're worried they're going to take our gun rights away, and now's the time when everybody hops on board. If everybody stood up and did this now in Iowa, in Minnesota, in Ohio, and Virginia, and states all across America, for you people who are watching this, if you did it now, we can win. We can win. We can push this back, we can ram it down their throats, we can boot them out of office at election time, and we can take our country back. But we cannot always wait until the final hour, until all hope is lost.
Right.
Like we've been saying over and over. Political bodies need to be lying in the gutter after election time. It's the only thing politicians.
Careers.
Politi-
Their careers.
Political.
Their careers.
I guess political. You know, but that's make of what you will. But guys, that's the whole thing here. People say politicians don't listen. They do if they're worried about no longer being politicians anymore. They say lawmakers won't listen to a word we have to say. They will if they think they won't be in this Capitol building or your Capitol building come the end of the 2020 election.
Everybody in Minnesota where you work, Ben, and of course this is Iowa, so we're all right next door neighbors. Everybody knows in Minnesota last year they were going to pass. They're going to pass gun control. They were going to pass something, red flags or background checks. And it was after the incredible patriots of Minnesota gun rights went to war against that we saw DFL members in Minnesota go into their own Facebook page and telling their own constituents and saying, "Look, we want to do this, but we're getting 35 to 1 email, 35 to 1,
Yeah, 34
to 2 emails from pro-gun people with Minnesota gun rights in our district to every 2 gun control or pro-gun control emails we're getting in our district." And so that's
yeah.
So again, that is where this fight is won or lost. There. And the ballot box. These rally days are great, but as long as we can keep putting that kind of pressure in Minnesota, for example, on these people right there, we'll never get to that point. And when we can do that, it resets the playing field.
Yeah.
You know, when Iowa passed that monster bill in 2017, it reset the playing field. We've staved off gun control for years to come. Now, of course, the question is, will our current pro-gun majorities do their job and pass constitutional carry? But when we can fight like this and have these successes, it resets the playing field. And the same thing is going to be possible in Minnesota.
Yeah,
and again,
absolutely.
here in Iowa right now. But this fight, like Ben just said, it's not a one-day deal. It's not, you don't wait till the last minute and then everybody's like freaking out. We have to engage like this all the time, day in and day out, emails every single day during session. At election time, we have to be vicious. We have to attack these people as much as we possibly can and make sure they pay a price. That's the only way. The only way we can make them pay a price.
So if you're not a member, go to joinigo.com, become a member.
From Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Me and my buddy.
Become a
We'll be going
member
live in a few
of
minutes
Iowa
in
gun
Missouri.
owners, or if you're in Missouri, become a member of the Missouri Firearms Coalition. If you're in Minnesota, join Minnesota Gun Rights. If you're in Ohio, join Ohio Gun Owners and the Wisconsin Firearms Coalition and Wyoming gun owners. Join them all. Because
That's the thing. Everybody keeps asking us, well, where's all these big national groups and stuff? And a lot of times, I mean, certainly in Virginia, this fight's going to be won or lost based on what individual gun groups in Virginia are going to do. That's obvious. That's obvious. Your state groups are where it's at. That's where it's going to get. That's where it's going to happen. And everybody
for
knows
heaven's
that.
sake, in states like Minnesota, you have the NRA supporting radical leftist Democrats who are voting against our Second Amendment rights in Minnesota are getting the A rating and the endorsements from the NRA. So if anything, these big national groups are screwing gun owners in states all across America and allowing this crap to be pushed forward. So join with us, fight with us, guys, because it's the members of Iowa gun owners that are pushing this entire conversation to the pro-gun side, to pass constitutional carries. The members of Minnesota Gun Rights, like Aaron said, it was State Representative John Lesh, a radical Metro City Democrat in St. Paul, who said, my district, I know, he said, my district is 80% in favor of gun control. It's a metro city. It's full of just radical. But he said, why am I getting 32 pro-gun emails in my district for every anti-gun email supporting me in my push for gun control? I'm being slaughtered by pro-gun messages when I live in a totally anti-gun district. That is how you stop gun control from passing.
And that's why your pre-written emails, guys, your pre-written texts, your video messages, all those things that we do. I mean, Ben and I sit there and write out all these emails. We write all your pre-written emails. We do all the tweet messages, all this stuff, not with my big gloved hands, but not normally. So we do all the work we can to make it easy for you guys to take action. It's a one-click process. You hit the button, and it goes to your lawmakers, to your senator, your state representative, to the governor, depends on what the campaign is, or all the above. We do all we can to take that work, do that work for you. And that's why all we ask you guys to do is fire off those emails. And those emails are not a one-time per session deal. It's like a one-time per day deal.
Yeah.
And fire them off and make them know that you're not content to not have Gronstal in charge.
Yeah.
You want to have these people who claim to support our gun rights actually do their job.
I had a guy named gal named Kelly. She said, last session in Minnesota, I got so used to sending my pre-written emails, it became a habit. Every morning, she said, I brewed my coffee, I sat down at my computer, and I pressed a few buttons and fired off my pre-written emails. She said, not a day went by that my lawmakers didn't know what I thought about what they were doing in St. Paul. It takes a couple of clicks. Make it part of your regimen. Make it part of your day-to-day. Constantly hammer on these people. And for those of you who don't live in, say, Jason Schultz's district, beat on him too. Get his contact information, Lion Dan Dawson, Ragin' Amy Sinclair, Bucktooth Steve Holt.
That's right.
Beat on these people. Phone calls, emails, nonstop. Be relentless on them, because it's so much worse, in my opinion. A Democrat, they always want to walk up and sink a knife right in your chest.
Defeat's one thing, betrayal is something entirely different.
Rhinos like what you got in Iowa there, they love to come up to give you a hug and sink a knife right into your back.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening with Ragin' Amy and Bucktooth Steve and all these people. They're sticking a knife into your back. Don't stand for it.
Got to push, guys. Maybe one last shot of the crowd here. I'm going to take a break here. We'll come with a lot of videos here in a few minutes. Here, take the gloves here. Show the crowd one last time before we sign off for a few minutes. Huge crowds here today again in Richmond, guys. They go 3 blocks down the road that direction. They go 2 blocks down the road that direction. That entire parallel street down there, I believe, is also blocked off. Turn around here and show you up 9th Street here. This crowd goes way up the hill. Raise this thing in the air a little bit. It goes way up the hill that direction. It goes way down on East Franklin here. You can't see past the corner. And again, we're only in the area where we're outside, where you can actually carry firearms. Inside that Capitol, into the grounds over there. Let me turn this camera. You probably can't see it. Maybe you can. In that grassy area over there is where the actual rally is going to happen later on today. We did some videos in there earlier this morning to show you guys kind of how it works, but the entire area is off limits to gun owners who are carrying, so we're out here where, frankly, the best crowd is and the best people are. So more to come, guys. Like the video, share the video, get involved in our fight at joinigo.com. Be back, guys, later on today. Take care.